Alright, this is video 2. You'll be working on the product of powers, which remember product means answer to multiplication, so really what you are doing is multiplying exponents. From the exponent connection page, you should probably have already gotten the hang of this, but we'll go through some examples together so that you can see. So, from video 1, you should have remembered a to the 5th power is represented by a times a times a times a times a, and a to the 3rd power is represented by a times a times a. So your final answer, in simplified form written as exponents, you have a total of 8 a's being multiplied together, so you write that as a to the power of 8. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to go ahead and work up the second example before I go over it. Okay, so x to the 7th power, you should have done x times x 7 times. And then you have one more x. So when you write your final answer in simplified form, you would write it as x to the power of 8 since there are 8 x's multiplied together. Go ahead and do the next example. Alright, so you should have gotten y, third part was 3y's multiplied together, and then 2y's multiplied together, and then you have a total of y to the 5th power because there was 5y's multiplied together. By now, some of you might be seeing kind of a little shortcut that you can use instead of having to write it all out. If you do, that's good, but if you don't, we'll get there by the time we're done with all the examples. Okay, so this one's already written out for you. If you have a's and b's mixed together, you just write them out. You have a to the 4th power, b to the 7th power, a to the 2nd power, and b to the 3rd power. So when you get your final answer, you need to look at the a's, and you have a total of a times a times a times a times a times a, so it would be a to the power of 6. And then you look at your b's, you multiply. And then you have b to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A and B's are separate. It's like combining like terms, but it's looking at like bases. Okay, go ahead and try the next example. Write it out and see what you get for your answer. Okay, you should have had time to do that. So m to the 4th power is m times m times m times n to the 2nd power, and then I have m to the 3rd power, and then another n. So go ahead and give you a second to simplify it if you didn't earlier. And you should have gotten a total of m to the power of 7 times n to the power of 3. Okay, this last example is a little bit trickier just because sometimes you get mixed up by these numbers up front. These are called coefficients. They're the numbers in front. They do not have exponents on it, so you just write them one time. So it'd be 5, and then x to the 4th power, y to the 2nd power, and then times 2, and then x to the 3rd power, then times y. So remember, you're still multiplying. So you would do 5 times 2, and you get 10. And then you would do your exponents on your x's and your y's. So x should have an exponent of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then your y should have an exponent of 1, 2, 3. Okay, after doing all these examples, hopefully you've kind of seen like a shortcut or a rule or generalization that you can use instead of having to write it out every single time. I'll give you about 30 seconds to talk with your partner to come up with a general rule that you can use for the bottom problems without having to write it out. Alright, you probably noticed that all you have to really do is just add the exponents. Since we have 5 a's and 3 a's, we had a total of 8. You could have done a to the power of 5 plus 3 equals a to the power of 8. For the second one, you had x to the power of 7 plus x to the power of 1. If there's no exponent, it's like a 1, just like when we had 1x. There'd be a 1 in front. So it would be x to the power of 8. The third example would have been y to the power of 3 plus 2, so you get y to the power of 5. The next one, you look at them together. You have a to the power of 4 plus 2, and then we had b to the power of 7 plus 3, and then we simplify and get a to the power of 6 times b to the power of 10. The next example, you do your m's first, m to the power of 4 plus 3, and then n to the power of 2 plus, there's only 1, so it would be plus 1, and you simplify and get m to the power of 7 times n to the power of 3. The last one, it would be, you'd first multiply the coefficients or the numbers in front, so 5 times 2 is 10. And then you would do x to the power of 4 plus 3, then y to the power of 2 plus 1, and you get 10 times x to the power of 7, y to the power of 3.
Hi. Can I borrow you?
Alright, if you have not summarized your rule earlier, go ahead and summarize your rule. Alright, so you should have written that you add the exponents of like bases. I know some of you might have written combined like terms. Remember, those are two different things. So if you wrote combined like terms, fix it and change it to add exponents of like bases. And then the other thing that a lot of students forget to do is multiply the coefficients. Remember, coefficients are the number in front. Not the exponents, the number in front, like the 5 and the 2 in that example. Alright, you're going to try your rule. If you're having a hard time using the rule, you can write it out like the other examples, because that's how you're going to prove anyway your rule worked. You're going to get your answer and then prove it by writing it out over here anyway. When you're done with this sheet, you're going to check it, and then you will move on to the back with the next video.